Rachel Zegler completely lost it after South Park took direct shots at Disney's latest attempt to push their so-called woke agenda. The show didn't hold back, and she wasn't happy about it.
Eric, it's okay. It's okay.
Ma, I had a dream that I was replaced by a diverse woman.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy.
Nobody's shocked. South Park has built its reputation on calling out the absurdities of woke culture, and Disney practically put a target on itself with its Snow White remake. But it seems like Rachel Zegler, Disney's handpicked Snow White, isn't laughing. Word is, she's not just upset, she's absolutely fuming over the parody and the backlash surrounding her role. South Park aired an episode called Into the Panderverse, and the title alone says it all. In classic South Park fashion, they went all in, race and gender-swapping beloved characters like Cartman, Stan, Butters, and Kenny into adult women of color. It was a direct shot at Disney's habit of reworking classic stories, swapping characters, and tossing tradition aside to appeal to modern audiences. But the satire didn't stop there. It was a full-scale roast of everything people have been criticizing about Disney's recent remakes. Now, let's talk Snow White. Casting Rachel Zegler, who is Latina, sparked plenty of debate, especially since the original character was literally named for her skin being as white as snow. Fans argue that the connection just doesn't make sense anymore, and honestly, they have a point. But it's not just the casting raising eyebrows. Disney has overhauled the entire story. The romance? Scrapped. The prince? Pretty much erased. The 7 dwarves? Gone. It's as if Disney is deliberately making the story unrecognizable.
A little person, one person with dwarfism, and now they're just completely cut. There will be no dwarf actors at all working on this film, and in a live action, which means we're supposed to translate from animation to real life people.
Rachel hasn't exactly helped her case with fans. In interviews, she's been called out for sounding dismissive and, frankly, entitled about her role. She's made it clear she's not a fan of the original Snow White, calling it outdated and problematic. At one point, she even joked about the on-set snacks being apple-flavored, as if that were some kind of personal attack. Really, Rachel? That's the focus? No wonder fans are frustrated. They feel like she's tearing down a beloved fairy tale to push a version that doesn't even feel like Snow White. And it only gets messy, eh? Rachel's comments about the prince raised more than a few eyebrows. She hinted that romance is no longer part of the story, saying it's not about the love story at all. She even joked about cutting all his scenes entirely. Whether or not she was serious, her tone didn't sit well with people. Fans aren't just upset about the changes. They're upset about how those changes are being framed, as if the original story was somehow wrong or outdated. And don't even get started on the 7 dwarves. Disney didn't just tweak them, they completely erased the concept. Snow White was built around her bond with these characters, yet that entire dynamic is gone. It's another example of how far Disney is willing to go to rewrite its classics, and audiences aren't buying it. If you're going to remake a generational film, shouldn't the goal be to honor its legacy, not erase it?
We all loved growing up that are sadly being forgotten in this new adaptation. I also don't know who is more excited, this guy or me, because the way he was bouncing in that video was absolutely insane. But somebody said, who's playing Snow White, Ben or Brett? I can't even tell. Never heard that joke before.
This isn't the first time Disney has faced backlash over drastic changes. Just look at The Little Mermaid. Casting Halle Bailey as Ariel sparked controversy, but at least that film kept much of its original charm. While some fans took issue with the casting, the story itself remained largely intact. That's not the case with Snow White. With so many drastic changes, fans feel like Disney is pandering to an agenda instead of creating something authentic. And when you add Rachel Zegler's tone-deaf interviews into the mix, it only makes things worse. Of course, South Park saw the perfect opportunity and ran with it. The show has always had a knack for holding up a mirror to society's absurdities, and Into the Panderverse was no exception. By race and gender swapping their own iconic characters, they pushed the satire to the extreme, showing just how ridiculous some of these creative decisions can be. And let's be real, South Park doesn't care whose feelings they hurt. Disney isn't the first to get roasted by the show, and they definitely won't be the last. It's no secret South Park has a long history of targeting Disney, but this episode felt tailor-made to critique the studio's current direction. While it poked fun at Hollywood's obsession with pandering, it was clear that Snow White was at the center of their focus. Disney has doubled down on controversial casting choices and story overhauls, and South Park wasn't about to let them off the hook. So, what's the main message of the episode? Changing a character's ethnicity or gender in a pre-existing story isn't real diversity, especially when it doesn't actually promote inclusivity. And let's be honest, South Park was never about exploring cultural or ethnic backgrounds, but Disney practically invited them to call out what they were doing to Snow White in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion. For a lot of fans, that's the real issue. It's not about representation, it's about authenticity. Rachel Zegler's involvement hasn't helped either. Fans can't get past how dismissive she's been toward the original story. Her interviews don't feel like excitement for a cherished role. They feel like disdain for what Snow White was. Between her comments about stripping away the love story, sidelining the prince, and turning Snow White into some kind of warrior, she's managed to alienate just about everyone who grew up loving the original.
White. How they're gonna sum that up and fix it, I have no idea. Please, please, please don't make it something where she's like asking him or like it's her. She's the one who actually makes the kiss happen in the end. I don't know.
That's why South Park's satire cuts so deep. By exaggerating these moves in their Panderverse episode, they reveal how hollow it can feel when studios prioritize superficial changes over genuine storytelling. Casting Rachel Zegler as Snow White feels less like an inspired choice and more like a marketing gimmick designed to earn diversity points. Instead of winning over fans, it's turned into a PR disaster, with Rachel herself facing ridicule and classic fans completely turned off. But this isn't South Park's first rodeo when it comes to roasting Disney. Back in 2022, they aired The Streaming Wars, which also took jabs at the entertainment giant. And let's not forget their digs at Star Wars after Disney's acquisition, or their infamous portrayal of Mickey Mouse in past episodes. Disney isn't just a frequent target. They're practically a recurring character in South Park's universe of satire. It seems Disney isn't thrilled about South Park's trolling. Rumor has it they're trying to negotiate with the show's creators to prevent more episodes like this from airing. It's easy to see why. They've built their empire on a carefully crafted public image, and South Park's unfiltered critique is a direct threat to that. If you thought Mickey Mouse being mocked was bad, this Panderverse episode might just be their most brutal takedown yet.
And kindness and friendship and inner beauty versus vanity and romance, for Pete's sake, because apparently that's missing in 2023. Weird. No! Also, speaking of the source material, many people were asking on—
For fans, this isn't about pushing woke's propaganda. It's about respecting the stories they love. Snow White became iconic for a reason, and her love story was a core part of that. By removing it entirely, Disney isn't modernizing the tale, they're stripping away what made it resonate in the first place. Fans aren't demanding a frame-by-frame remake. They just want adaptations that honor the heart of the original while still feeling relevant. What do you think about all this drama? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Snow White and Disney's latest moves. See you in the next one.